It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast on this, the 6th day of August 2025. Coming to you from my studio in Forest, Virginia, right outside of Lynchburg. Brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around, and by Chillie Cruises. Got quite a number of stories this morning, and quite frankly, one of the difficult things for me today was to pick out a top story. There's, a bunch of stories that are all pretty equal as far as I was concerned in their weight of importance. So I just kind of picked one. So I went with the lead story today of Star of the Seas reaches Puerto Rico. Also on today's show, we've got some perfect 100 scores from the CDC. The Meraviglia to move to Miami. Celebrity Ascent's visit to Santorini shortened due to port congestion. Also today, TSA launches Families on the Fly program. A new dock proposed for Juneau. A sexual assault on the Carnival breeze. Koper opens a new terminal and the Regal Princess limps into port. That and lots more here at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on this. Did I say that this is the 6th day of August? Anyway, it's on August the 6th, if I didn't say that before. Today is National Root Beer Float Day. Never been a huge fan. I've had my share over the years. I haven't had one in years. But root beer float, I used to like them. A&W root beer. I would stop at one of those when I was traveling. But anyway, if you can do it, go out and have a root beer float today. Somebody has to still make them. All right, this day in history in 1787, 60 proof sheets of the Constitution are delivered to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. There again, there's another document maybe we should send to the idiots in Washington. Because they just, folks, this isn't a political statement. I equally hate both sides. Both sides to me are just idiots, and they've just totally gone away from what they're supposed to be doing. But that's just me. If you're a podcast person, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for travel and cruise industry news, and up pops the old fat guy. We do this 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I check on things Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. I can always do a pop-up live if something major happens or, when I'm traveling. Admittedly, I haven't done much traveling this summer. But between my responsibilities here, the medical stuff that I've had done and still have to do ahead of me, so I have not been able to get out and do some of the things I wanted to do. I'm not cruising again until October, but we'll see. Maybe I can still get out some this summer. I've been doing some research on some things that I'd like to go and like to film and do. But, we'll see. All right, one quick comment about Monday's show. I have had quite a few very nice compliments on the interview with Amanda. If you missed the show, you might want to go back and watch the replay. That might be the best interview I've ever done. But it was really good. She was really good. It had a nice flow to it. I went back and listened to the whole thing. I was pretty pleased with it. I hope my future endeavors will be as good as that one was. So that, of course, we shall see. All right. Got a few things to cover before we get to the news today. So, Rochelle is in Dubrovnik, Croatia. I've not heard back from her because I'm not sure what ship she's on, but she was in Dubrovnik, and of course, she's gonna hit every church in the area. She usually does. This is Corey Lee over there in London. I think they've finished up their trip to London, and I saw a posting from him early this morning how much he loved London. There's two things that I can tell from his trip to London and my trip to London. One, obviously, he's in much better weather than Hot Air Tom and I were in January. So that clearly helped some. The other thing was the use of the black cabs, which are all wheelchair accessible, which Hot Air Tom and I didn't know that. And although we did okay with the underground and subways systems and even the buses, there were probably some times when knowing that the cabs were available might have made things a little better. Again, I didn't explore the price. I have no idea from the price that Curb Free with Corey Lee had to pay, and Sandy and the crew. But anyway, he was able to do a lot of things in London that, for multiple reasons, I was not able to do. Hot Air Tom did better than I did between the roughness of some of the areas on the chair. I was not feeling tip top, and it was cold. It was brutally cold. So I didn't do as well in London as I would have liked. Maybe someday I'll get back and can try it again. But anyway, I'm glad Corey and crew had a great trip to London. That's on the back end of their group cruise to Italy, which was also quite successful. This is Fraser in Valletta, Malta. Of course, love anything that Fraser does. I've also got a message into him. By the way, one of the reasons, folks, that I started telling you about the show yesterday and some of the comments I've had two requests from folks that would like to come on the show to be interviewed. That's how we started off with Amanda, the PR firm that's handling her books, contacted me and said, she'd like for you to interview her. And I said, well, that's fine. Give me a day. Which is my responses to these other two requests has been the same. Come on, we'll certainly schedule it and have some fun with it. All right, our buddy Bethany down in Tampa. I didn't get a chance to get her on when she got home from Virgin. So she's on her third trip now. Success, she was on the big trip she did, and then I didn't know she was going on Virgin, and now she's going over for a river cruise. So she is in Copenhagen, and that is the palace for the Dutch royalty. And let me see if I can. A meal. It's a big long Amalienborg Palace. Amalienborg Palace in Copenhagen, Denmark, is where she was yesterday, or I could have been early. I'm not sure if that was this morning or yesterday. But anyway, so she's off on another trip, so we're looking forward to that. Before we get to the news, folks, let's take a quick look at the weather. The weather is a little screwy right now. This is the Atlantic. Now, in the Atlantic, the X closest to the shore is a weak surface trough located several hundred miles off the coast of the southwest United States, producing scattered showers and thunderstorms. Area of low pressure expected to develop from the system over the next day or so. Environmental conditions appear generally favorable for additional development. Tropical depression could develop late this week or the weekend as the low drifts westward before gradually turning northward to northeastward by the weekend. They're talking about 40% chance over the next 7 days. Now, if you go up off the coast, like out from New England to Dexter, Dexter is a tropical storm. It did not reach hurricane status. Currently, it's at 45 miles an hour. The pressure is at 1,003 and steady. Its movement is east-northeast at 13 miles an hour. Dexter might strengthen a little during the day today, but then should start weakening as it moves toward its post-cyclone cycle. Then the big unknown system is in the normal trough coming across from Africa. It's a tropical wave over the eastern tropical Atlantic, producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are forecast to be conducive for gradual development during the next week. Tropical depression should form by the weekend, if not before. It's going to have a generally west-northwestward movement across the central tropical or subtropic Atlantic, talking about 50% chance of development over the next 7 days. A little more normal action in the Atlantic. Now, out in the Pacific, you got Tropical Storm Henriette that's out kind of heading in the direction of Hawaii. Currently, sustained winds are at 50, pressure is 1,004 and steady. It's moving to the west at 15 miles an hour. It is forecast to weaken during the day today. Probably will not affect Hawaii as it continues to weaken. The system in closer to land, we have to watch closely. That's shower and thunderstorm activity associated with an area of low pressure located a couple hundred miles south-southwest of the Gulf of Tehuantepec, has increased during the past few hours. Continued development is expected, and a tropical depression or tropical storm will likely form during the next 24 to 48 hours. The system is forecast to move generally west-northwest around 15 miles an hour, parallel but offshore of the coast of Mexico. Talking about 90% chance of development in the next 48 hours and 90% over the next 7 days. So again, hopefully it'll stay offshore, folks, but it's one clearly we have to watch. Oops, I did not do that, did I? Let me back up here, folks. I didn't show you what I was talking about. There we go. Henrietta, as you can see, is the one heading toward Hawaii. And that is the system right off the coast. I'm getting a bunch of pictures in from Elizabeth. However, I can't get to them as now as we're on the show. So, Elizabeth, if you jump into this, I will get those up for Wednesday. No, Friday. This is Wednesday. So confused. So, anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this portion of the show. So we're going to take a quick break from one of our network sponsors, and I'll be back with today's news. Talk to you shortly. All right, before we get started with today's news, I do see that Elizabeth is in Iceland. I have not taken a chance to go there and check. I did see a message that says the cheapest glass of wine she could find was $18. I don't know if you can hear this thing beeping in the background, but that's all stuff that Elizabeth is sending me. So I'm going to have quite a few things to go over. All right, guys. So with the lead story today, here's Nestor with the news.
As preparations for its official debut continue, the Star of the Seas recently arrived at the port of Ponce for a technical call. After crossing the Atlantic for the first time, the Royal Caribbean vessel docked at the Puerto Rican port on Tuesday. According to local media, the Star of the Seas will spend 3 days in Ponce. Before arriving in Puerto Rico, the LNG-powered vessel also made a technical visit to the Spanish port of Cadiz. The vessel is then said to be christened by its godmother, singer and actress Diana Ross, before embarking on its maiden cruise on August 31st. 15 cruise ships have already scored a perfect 100 in their health inspection scores with the CDC this year. Here are the perfect 15: Carnival Luminosa, Celebrity Solstice, Disney Magic, Disney Wish, Westerdam, National Geographic Venture, Explorer 1, Norwegian Escape, Oceania Vista, Icon of the Seas, Valiant Lady, Viking Neptune, and Viking Sea. MSC Cruises is canceling all MSC Meraviglia Winter 2026-2027 sailings from New York and moving the ship to Miami. Affected passengers have 3 rebooking choices, or can choose a future cruise credit or a full refund. New itineraries will feature Caribbean ports, including Turks and Caicos and St. Martin. Guests booked to sail from the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal in late 2026 received notice that their itineraries have been canceled. Deal of the day: 13-night transatlantic cruise on the Carnival Glory from Barcelona to Port Canaveral, sailing April 11, 2026, with stops in Alicante, Malaga, Gibraltar and Celebration Key. Prices start at $474 per person, double occupancy. Call Chillie 434-258-9264 for more information and to book. Celebrity Ascent will make a shortened call to Santorini on Friday, as port authorities have adjusted the ship's schedule due to increased maritime traffic. Originally scheduled to stay until 8 p.m., the ship will now depart the popular Greek island at 5 p.m. The change is due to high traffic at Santorini's small tender port, which is expecting 3 more ships that day. To alleviate crowding and ensure smoother operations, officials have required adjustments to visiting ship schedules. Guests who booked shore excursions through Celebrity Cruises will have their tours automatically adjusted to reflect the new departure time. If any excursions are no longer feasible, full refunds will be issued. Santorini remains one of the most sought-after destinations on Aegean itineraries, but the island's limited capacity has led to growing calls for improved visitor management. Ambassador Ambience has shifted her itinerary due to the influence of Storm Floris on the northern UK. This means 1 cancelled port, 1 shifted port day, and 1 extended port on the current 7-night sailing. Ambience visited Bergen instead of Sandnes on Tuesday, and will be extending her time in Aalesund on Thursday. By sailing to Bergen earlier in the cruise, ambience can better avoid the strongest winds and roughest waves generated by Storm Flores. Deal of the Traveling with young children can turn any trip into a logistical headache, especially when heading to or from a cruise. But families cruising through Port Canaveral may find the journey a little smoother now, thanks to a new Transportation Security Administration (TSA) initiative at Orlando International Airport (MCO). The TSA has officially launched its Families on the Fly program at select major airports, and Orlando, just 45 minutes from Port Canaveral, is among the first to implement the family-friendly changes. The program is designed to ease the stress of navigating airport security for parents traveling with children under the age of 12. Dedicated family lanes are now available at all security checkpoints in MCO, allowing for shorter waits and personalized assistance. TSA agents assigned to these lanes have received specialized training to help travelers manage strollers, car seats, diaper bags, and other bulky family gear more efficiently. Not only will families benefit from the added support, but the initiative is also expected to reduce overall checkpoint congestion, making the process smoother for all passengers. Although the program mainly supports outbound travelers, cruise guests flying home after sailing from Port Canaveral stand to benefit the most. With Orlando's proximity to world-class theme parks and a growing list of cruise lines using Port Canaveral as a home port, the addition of Families on the Fly makes MCO an even more convenient hub for family vacationers. The program is part of a broader TSA initiative to modernize the travel experience and better accommodate the unique needs of today's diverse passenger population.
We have the equipment you need to stay mobile. Whether you need a wheelchair, scooter, power chair, rollator, oxygen, or other pieces of mobility equipment, Scootaround, powered by Will, can help. Once you've booked your rental, we can deliver it to wherever you need. For your mobility needs, contact me or call Scootaround at 888-441-7575. Use SRN 11137 for the best rates.
Goldbelt is aiming high with its proposed private cruise port on Douglas Island with facilities that include skybikes and treehouses, and docks capable of handling the increasingly large ships arriving in Juneau. Those details and many more for the project, named Goldbelt Ani, are specified in an 82-page public notice of a permit application published July 28 by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The notice seeking comment is effective until August 28 and states a public hearing can be requested by interested parties. Goldbelt announced its proposed two-berth dock on property it owns along the northwest coast of Douglas Island last October, to the surprise of city officials who said they were unaware of the plans beforehand. Officials also said the company provided few details during subsequent months, although preliminary permit discussions with Juneau's Community Development Department occurred July 23. Koper, Slovenia has officially opened its new sustainable cruise terminal, enhancing its position as a key port in the Adriatic. Located steps from the old town, the modern facility replaces outdated infrastructure and is designed to accommodate growing cruise traffic while prioritizing environmental responsibility.
Let's talk about Allianz Travel Insurance. That's what I use and have for years. Without travel insurance, you'll have to navigate every travel emergency on your own, whether it's that missing suitcase or a medical evacuation. With Allianz Travel Insurance, you have a dedicated team of travel and medical experts on your side. For more information, just give me a call, 434-258-9264, and we'll talk about an Allianz policy that fits your needs.
All right, that's going to put an end to the news portion of today's show. I do have one quick thing to show you. That's the $18 Iceland glass of wine. I did jump over and download that from Eli on location in Iceland. All right, so let's see who's in the chat room fussing at me today. If I can get the chat room on. There we go. I know Hot Air Tom. Oh, we do have one of our ex-folks in the house as well. Thank you very much for being here. Hot Air Tom was with us, said good morning to everyone. Gretchen's here, says morning all. Cindy's with us. Hot Air Tom, Cindy, was a bit stressed over being comfortable on the flight from Newark to Reykjavik. So I was hoping to upgrade to business first. Not happening, so I just called United today and confirmed I could book a second seat for me and give Cindy 2 seats. Okay, whatever makes you happy there, Hot Air. Because you want to keep Cindy in the right mood. There's Kenneth up in Pennsylvania. Hey, Kenneth. Hot Air says, hoping this works. Kenneth says, hey, Tom, how are you doing? Getting ready for the trip to Iceland. So when you get there, roughly, what's the weather like this time of year? Cold. It's always cold in Iceland. And how long is the flight? Gretchen wants to know. Bob's with us. Grandson's first day of kindergarten. Obvious. Awesome. Obvious. Awesome, Bob. Gretchen says lots of pictures. Yeah, we could stand that. There's Sonny down in Mississippi. Says so fun to Bob. That's one of the big milestones. Sonny says, Tom, hope you both can sleep on the plane. How long is the flight? Hot Air Tom says, looking like 50s and lots of passing rain. Although I gather rain in Iceland is usually just an hour or so. I hope for a mix of sun and rain in that case. Okay. Eli's warming up Iceland for Hot Air Tom and Cindy's arrival. Yes, indeed. That's why she's there. That's, I'm sure, the only reason that Virgin went to Iceland was to get it ready for Hot Air Tom. Hopefully you can even see sunshine. Yeah, that's true. With all the smoke here, we can't even see sun. Yeah, I was going to talk about that some this morning. I saw where Logan Airport was shut down for a couple hours because of toxic smoke from Canada. So, I've realized a lot of you guys on the more northern states are feeling the effects of the wildfires again. It's happened before. So far, we have not had any, at least it's been noticeable down as far as Virginia. There's Roger. I talked to Roger yesterday. Roger says, good morning. Todd says, good morning, everyone. Roger says, bought a Viking River cruise of Portugal Douro River for next July the 4th. That's what Roger and I were discussing yesterday, and the Allianz Insurance. Gretchen says, oh, that sounds like fun, Roger. It'll be interesting, Roger, to see how you do on the European riverboats. I know I can't get on them, but you obviously are much more ambulatory than I am. So it'll be interesting to see how you do. Todd asked, did you ever get the shed built for your pool pump? No, we still have the pool house up. My guy that works for me all the time, he does all the odd jobs around, all the things that I used to do, and our mowing and our trimming. His wife has been in the hospital a couple times in the last couple weeks, and it's really, he's not had the time to do any extra chores. So no, it has not been done yet. I mean, there's not any great rush other than we want to get the eyesore of the old, that the pool house originally was the milk house. Back in the days when my grandparents, predominantly my grandmother, was milking cows. And that was when I was a kid. I'm 76 years old, or will soon be in another week or so. So, I mean, when I was 6, 7 years old, that's when that pool house, what we call a pool house now, was the milk house back then. That's where the milk was kept until the dairy came to pick it up. So, yeah, it's old and it's ready to go. But it'll get done when Stanley and his guys can have the time to do it, and there's no rush to it. As long as it gets done before, winter weather gets here and we have, a chance of weather breaking the thing down. So anyway, so it's still in process, Todd. I'm not that worried about it. Cindy says about 8. Gary Older Than Dirt's with us. Good morning, Gary. Gretchen says they're pretty good today on the smoke level. Cindy says 90 days until Rome. 4 days there, and then the Grandiosa Yacht Club. Well, we're going to have pictures, and we got to see if we can do an interview from there, Cindy, when you get there. See if we can hook something up. That would be fun. Gretchen says she loves Rome. I enjoyed, of course, we did not have the time to spend in Rome when we were there this summer. One, we landed in Rome and immediately got on an airplane and flew to Barcelona to sail the next day. So following Corey Lee and his crew in Rome and Florence, I've enjoyed, because they got to do some things that I either couldn't or wasn't able to do when I was over there. It gives me some ideas if I ever go back. And that's a question mark, folks. But if I ever make it back, that I want to do. So, and spending some time in Rome is definitely one of them. Gretchen says 30 days to New York City. Let's get rid of the smoke. Yes, indeed. Sonny says, nice trip, Cindy. Yes, it is. Roger says, I managed the French River cruise in May pretty well. Devin was a big help. He is going for the port wine cruise. Very good. Hot Air says, laughs at my concept of time. His birthday is 1 month and a couple of days away. What did I say? I don't know. It's coming up. It's in September. We're in August. So, it's not far. Gretchen says, I've wanted to go to Portugal since 2020 when we were supposed to go to Lisbon. I liked Lisbon. Roger and I, as a matter of fact, went to the museum in Lisbon, which to me was clearly a highlight of the trip. That was the only thing I did in Lisbon, as a matter of fact, because that took us up for about a half a day. And with transportation over there and back, but I liked Lisbon. And I loved the museum. That was just fabulous. Cindy says, love Rome so much. Each time we stay in a different area. This time we're closer to the Spanish Steps And then March 26th, we'll be closer to the Coliseum. That's cool. Hot Air says, I was at St. Peter's the day the Pope passed. It was sad. Chillie could not do that tour. It was fabulous. Yeah, that was actually the day that I had hoped to meet the Pope, drink wine with the Pope. That's what I wanted to do. Of course, that got canceled sometime before the Pope passed. Gretchen says that was an occasion you'll never forget. Yes, it was. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, as always, folks, I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Please smash that thumbs up button. That'll help the channel out a lot. Also, if you have not subscribed, please take this as my invitation to join us. We do this 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then it can happen on other days as well, but that's our regular schedule. So please consider joining us. Doesn't cost you anything. All right, guys, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising and traveling. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. I'll see you back here on Friday if I don't see you before then. All right, until next time, this is the old fat guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chilliescruises.